With us for another few minutes. I'm sure you'll want to hear from our CEO, Dr. Nick Goodwin. You might have heard that he's moving on to pastures new and new adventures in Australia in the coming 12 months. But we have no intention of losing him because he has been with the Foundation from the beginning and he's going to continue to be connected with us through ICIC Australia. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Nick, who will tell you a little bit more about that. Nick.
Thank you very much indeed, Fiona. And I think it's a day of thanks. Thank you to our hosts. It's been an amazing conference here in San Sebastian, such a beautiful city. I can't imagine why so many people came. There's a conference centre on the beach and beautiful pinchos, and it's just been a beautiful setting. So thank you so much. And also to all of the different supporters and sponsors who've given us so much time here. This is my opportunity. And forgive me, if I will get a little emotional. This happens every year, so it's normal. Just to my staff team, who've done an incredible job, not just for this conference, but in giving their commitment to a foundation which is built on really the love and attention of relatively few people who've really built it up over a number of years. So to come here and find 1,500 people in an auditorium standing on their feet and cheering on a keynote speaker is something that I'm not going to forget for a long time. So I'd just like to pick out a few people without naming every member of the team, but firstly to Fiona Line for a great conference management and everything. It's been amazing, so thank you. Also to the scientific committee for all of your hard work, including the ICIC staff, so to Maggie and everybody else behind the scene. I can't name everyone. I'd also like to thank my board. Some are here, some here, over here, for being incredibly supportive, both over the last year, but also over the years as well. And of course, in the future, we're going to be looking to grow that. I also, because I know you're watching online, I'm going to thank Lourdes, my wife, and also my family for putting up with me being too much away from home in order to be able to go on these conferences. It really is work, even if you did see the pictures from last night. This really is work. So it has been a tremendous movement for change, and I go back to an event that we held back in 2003, 2004, and we were beginning to sketch out what it is that we might want to do with the foundation, some of these original ideas, and we kind of started to have a vision for something like we have today, maybe 15 years ago. But one of the things, it was a Finnish colleague from Starkis called Esko Hänninen, and he said, what you're trying to create, Nick, is a movement for change. Well, this is our new tagline, of course, and Jodine captured it really well, and really I think this is the change in our mission. So before it was around knowledge exchange and bringing people together to extend the science and to begin to understand our learning. Today it's very much about pushing on from that and trying to support implementation and adoption, because the greater value in healthcare and better outcomes for people is really dependent on things like this. So as I mentioned on day one, this is our 19th conference, but that means we're still a teenager. And we're going into the future still wide-eyed. So whereas we've been learning and growing as teenagers, now we're looking into the future. And what I really get from this conference every single time is how compassionate you all are, the authenticity of the conversations, the family feel of the conference, where it's all about the discussions and the dialogue and the learning. And when you look into people's eyes, it's that little spark that people have, of whatever age that you are. And I love the fact you had the lady here yesterday, and the enthusiasm, the spark. And you look into people's eyes, and that gives you huge amount of comfort. It gives you a huge amount of energy to carry on and do things for the future. And I hope you feel the same way, that the conversations that you've had during this event have felt like that. My future, yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to it. So I've been honored to become professor and director of the Central Coast Research Institute in Australia. It's going to be a huge challenge, and I'm really looking forward to it. But of course, I won't be a stranger to the foundation. I'm still going to continue in my role as editor-in-chief, co-editor-in-chief of the journal. So all of you are going to submit journals. I'm going to give you still the hardest time as I did before, so I apologize for that in terms of being able to scientifically manage your papers. And with David and others looking to grow our networks quite strongly across the Asia-Pacific region with Tony and all of my colleagues as well. And this is it for it. We're really entering into a big growth phase of the foundation. 1,500 people here today, 3 conferences already lined up. We've got more research studies than we ever had before. We're moving into a field where we're bringing our networks together to support implementation and change in countries from Brazil to Estonia to New Zealand to Saudi Arabia. It's really quite remarkable, and it's been an absolute privilege to have been there at the first meeting 19 years ago. And all of our inspiration comes from you. So we do have a little session later. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how to engage with us and how to work with us and how to be part of this movement, do come and meet us. So with that, I'd just like to thank, what a fantastic conference. And to everyone, thank you so much.